if you have your bodice extended to your hip line, you can make use of it as one piece. But if you have your bodice from your shoulder to your waistline, it means you're going to create two-piece shift dress. That is, you're joining the bodice, which is from the shoulder to the waist, and the skirt block. Now I have my bodice yet, which is to the hip line, and I'm going to trace all the information on it on my paper. But before we do that, I quickly want to explain one-piece dress to you. Now, to achieve one-piece dress, all you need to do, since you have your bodice up to your hip line, all you need to do is to extend the length. How do I mean? You already have your bust, you have your waistline, you have your hip line. All you need to do is to extend. Peradventure, your dress length is like 34 or let me say 40, and already you have the bodice from your shoulder to your waistline. You have about 24 or 23 thereabouts. All you need to do is to take the measurement right from the shoulder through to the length you desire. Like me, let's say I want my dress length to be 45. All I need to do is to place my tape rule here and measure my 45 downwards. The same thing is applicable to the center back, because already you have your bodice made. So let me quickly illustrate that to you. Now my dress length, don't forget I'm using a small scale, but I'll relate to you as if I'm using the big scale. So all I need to do is to take my measurement right from my shoulder, that's my neck point, where my shoulder is connected to my neck, and take my measurements down. For this class, because I'm using a small scale, I will assume this is my dress length, 19, and I'll do same on the center back, my dress length 19. Then I'll connect the lines. I'll connect the lines. I'll connect the lines. Now that is that. So all I need to do is to transfer all this information, my waistline, my dart on my waist, the dart on my shoulders. I'll transfer the information on the block itself. Now I have my dress block. All I did was to transfer to trace out the bodice. All I did was to transfer the bodice to a new paper, and I extended the length of the dress to my desired length. So this is one-piece dress. So I'll quickly show us two-piece dress block pattern. I already have my skirt block traced out. All I need to do is to place my center front and my center back bodies on it to make it two-piece. So this is my center front. Remember, it's always on fold, and this is my center back, and this is same side same. So I'm going to place the center front and the center back of the bodice now. Now you can see that the bodice is bigger than the skirt block. So what do? I'm going to show us how we're going to adjust it to make it one piece dress, and I'm also going to show us how to make it two-piece. But first of all, let me quickly show us how to make it two-piece dress. Now what do? All you need to do is place and it also depends on the style you're working on or fashion. Place your bodice on your fabric, cut out your bodice. Then it means you're cutting your skirt block separately. Then you join them together after you must have closed the bodies. Pick all the darts out, all the necessary things. The same thing is applicable to the center front or the center back. Then you join on the waist. You join. But in this case, let me quickly show us how we're going to adjust the bodies to the skirts. Now I have all the blocks pinned on my paper. I just want to show us how to make use of how to arrive at the two-piece dress. What makes it two-piece is the bodice and the skirt block. This is the skirt block and this is the bodice. Of course, the bodice is bigger than the skirt, and also it depends on the figure. So all you need to do first is to cut the bodice on your fabric. That's by the time you want to join two-piece or you're trying to create two-piece. Like a style called peplon, you're joining two-piece together. That's the bodice and the skirt. You're joining it together before you attach the flair to it. So all you need to do is to cut out your bodice on your fabric, stitch everything that needs to be stitched. The same thing is applicable to the skirts. Of course, the skirts will be the length. That's the length, the remaining length of the dress. Let's assume your dress is 40 and your bodice is 16 or 17. Now, all you need to do is deduct or subtract 16 or 17 inches from 40. Whatever you have left is what you're going to use to draft your skirts block. So the skirts block will serve as the balance to the upper part, which is the bodice. So that is your two-piece dress, and you will pick all the darts. And while picking the darts on the skirt block, you will need to adjust the darts. How do I mean? Because if you look at it, the darts and the darts on the skirt and the bodice are not of the same position. You have to relocate the darts. How do you do that? By closing these two, add it up and centralize it the way the body's darts is being drafted. The same thing is applicable to the center front. All you need to do is to add more fullness, more dart width to the skirt block. I hope you understand what I've just explained to you. By the time we go on clothes construction or garment assembly, you will understand more if you're a bit confused with this, because I'm going to make two-piece dress and I'm going to make one-piece dress for you. Thank you. For your tools, go to YG Couture on your social media, as well as Fashion Tools 44. The tools are affordable. Tools like your small pattern cuff, we have the big one, we have the small one, we have other tools as well. Thank you. Hello class. Today we'll be looking at how to cut out our one-piece dress block, also known as a shift dress. So I already done my block. That's my dress block, which is what I have on my fabric, pinned to my fabric, and all the information on it. If you've been following other videos already by now, you would have gotten used to how I pin and transfer the information on my garment. So right away, what I want to do is to add seam allowance. For some of us that doesn't understand how to add seam allowance, I'll show you how to do that, one. And secondly, my assumption now is I am working with a big scale. I told us anytime you see me working with a small scale, just assume I'm working with a big scale, because some of the information I'll be giving to you is meant for big scale, because I wouldn't want you to mix it up. Now, where and how do we add our seam allowance? This is the shoulder slant. On the shoulder slant, you're going to add ½ inch. You measure from this angle up, you measure out ½ inch, you follow the curve of the dart, you measure ½ inch. You measure ½ inch, then you connect. Like I said, you have to follow the shape of the dart, so you don't miss it. Around the armhole, you're going to use 3/8 inches. 3/8 inches, then you use your cup. You follow the cup. 3/8 inches, then you use your cup to shape it. On the side, this is the side seam. Side seam on the side on the bust line, you use 1 inch. You mark on the waist 1 inch. You connect on the hip line. You measure 1 inch as well. You connect, and on the hem you use 1 inch on the side of it. That's the side of it. This is the hem. You use 1 inch. Then on the hem you use 1 inch as well. But like I always say, it depends on the style. You use 1 inch. Don't forget, we have to use our slits. The other class I told us that for you to achieve your slits measurement, you measure inwards 6 inches or 8 inches, depends on how you want it, how deep you want it. Then the width, that is, let's assume this is my 6 inches to 8 inches. The width which I'm taking out on to the fabric the width is 1.5 inches to 2 inches, depends on how wide you want it. So this side of my center back, which is about 1 inch, which is 1 inch for zipper, you use it at your zipper allowance, and it's not left to you how long you want your zipper. Of course, you should use a very long zip so that you'll be able to go into it. The same thing is applicable to the center front. Around the neckline, you will add quarter inch. You curve it. Then on the shoulder, you follow the curve of the shoulder blade. You add ½ inch. The same thing. Around the armhole, you're using the same thing you use on the center back. You're using 3/8 inch. On the side, of course, you're using 1 inch somewhere here, 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch. Then you connect. Then on the hem as well, you use 1 inch. I'll quickly do mine, then you see. Okay, as you can see, all what I explained earlier about the seam allowance, it's already added on mine. You can see, if you look at it very well, I follow the curve and I make sure everything is intact. So all you need to do is to cut them out, and when you're cutting, you make sure you cut on the seam allowance line. Let it guide you. Don't cut away the seams. This is the center front. I'm cutting out the center front. I'm already done with the center back. You follow the lines like I said. So I have my center front and center back cut out ready. All I need to do is to transfer the information on the pattern to the fabric itself. And of course, by now you should be familiar with how to do that, because other videos have shown you how to do the transfer. So I'll do that, and what we're going to do is to go to the machine, stitch this, stitch your shoulder, your shoulder dart, the waist dart, stitch the waist dart on the center back and the shoulder dart as well. Then incorporate your zip, close the necessary place, and of course the slits will be open just the way we did our center back for the skirt. I'll get back to you now. So transfer all the information at the center back. Then the next video you'll be seeing how to cut out the two-piece dress and how to stitch it together. Thank you. Kindly follow our page at Waju Couture on social media and at Fashion Tools 44. Thank you. I love you.